Good evening and welcome. Sorry about that little glitch at the beginning. Not sure what happened there. I'm Sheila Balgobin, and I am the principal of Simply Improve Health, and I help people to train better and longer, have improved sleep, and enjoy better quality of life in general with simple plant-based products and simple techniques. Tonight, I want to share with you a little bit of the evening that I had up in Liverpool on Friday night at the Forget Me Not Ball. And I had a fantastic time. I met up with some of my wise ladies wise women from Morocco. So, shout out to you, ladies. It was wonderful to see you. The two lovely Lindas, Queen C, Cheryl, sorry, and Jem and Harry, my girl, my color consultant par excellence. Everybody loved the red. So did I. And Wendy, my Panther lady. And most of all, and especially, hats off to you, Claire Ellis, who arranged the event. It was absolutely wonderful. I had a wonderful time. But it was more than just a meeting of friends. I was fortunate enough before and after the event to meet up with some friends. Claire and Simon Kendrick, thank you so much for lunch. It was great to see you. And Aiden, thank you so much for breakfast on Saturday, or brunch actually. I was starving. You come in, your aces as always. The theme of this event, to get back to what the actual purpose for my visit up there, was Forget Me Not, the Forget Me Not Ball, as a fundraiser for Dementia UK. Now, the real star of the ball, I have to say, I mean, we had fantastic performers. People really got into it and dressed for the period, though I found out that what was happening in terms of fashion on either side of the Atlantic differed, because in Britain they were suffering under austerity, and had to make their skirts narrower, whereas in the States things were booming and the skirts were nice and wide. So, learned a bit of sartorial history as well. But the real star of this program this evening walked in on Claire's arm, and it was her mother. And the motivation for this fundraiser for Dementia UK. As you may have guessed, Claire's mom suffers with dementia, or she's living with dementia. And what was interesting to see and lovely to see and left, a few tears in the eye, was she came in, she heard the music by, I think it was Glenn Miller, and she smiled and she started to sway, and her head was bobbing in time to the music. And she was, for a few minutes, just a few minutes, she was transported back to a time where her mind was clear, and she loved to dance, apparently. And it reminded her of another time. And those moments are precious when you're dealing with someone with dementia or Alzheimer's, because they become fewer and fewer between. Now, some weeks ago, I did a live talking about work that I did with an elderly client who, among her health issues, also was subject to dementia, and how I was able to use the mediums of aromatherapy and reflexology treatments to get her to hold on for just a little while longer to her memories. But even after her memory was gone, she couldn't recognize her daughter. She certainly couldn't remember who I was. But whenever she smelled the oils that I would bring to her for treatment, and then feel the touch of my hands, she would just smile and close her eyes and drift off to sleep while I treated her. So that even while they're slipping away, there are things that they still can respond to. One of the things that came up, he said, aromatherapy, he said, well, what if the person has lost their sense of smell? studies have actually shown that people can benefit from aromatherapy even when they have no sense of smell at all. Because there's various mediums that you can use to apply with aromatherapy oils, massage being one of them. But as long as it's able to penetrate the skin or enter the olfactory bulb in some way, it will have an effect. There are other things. Claire's mother showed it quite clearly that music is an important way to keep people intact a little while longer when they're living with Alzheimer's or dementia. But there are other things that people aren't even aware of that can be helpful. Things like diet, something as basic as diet. And it's quite shocking when you realize that doctors know next to nothing. Do you hear me? Next to nothing about nutrition. And nutrition can often reduce or even resolve some of the problems that occur in patients suffering with dementia and Alzheimer's. Take choline, that's CHOLINE, for example. Studies have been shown that the simple thing like that is able to reduce the plaque that narrows the arteries of the brain, which is a feature of dementia. Now, unfortunately, it took them years to find out that plaque was lining the brain, and they could only find it out after people had died um, to make that assessment. But now research is out there. You're not hearing about it because there are vested interests that you don't hear about them. But things as simple as diet can often reduce and even eliminate some of the health problems suffered by the elderly and people suffering with dementia. And I say that again, diet can play an important role in helping to reduce and maybe even reverse some of the effects of dementia, like coconut oil, for example. Some time ago, I wrote about that. I did a blog on it. That the one man who was suffering with Alzheimer's actually saw the symptoms reverse with this form of treatment. But you're not hearing about these things. As I said, there are vested interests in making sure that you do not. So what I would suggest is that if you have loved ones, whether they be friends, family, or someone else, that is being assessed for dementia or Alzheimer's, do your homework. There are many things out there that can be helpful, from simple things like aromatherapy and listening to music, to other things that will help mental acuity, to help people to hold on to their memories. The progression, at least as in terms of science, hasn't found a cure for Alzheimer's, though there's some promising signs apparently coming along. But again, there are vested interests in making sure that there's a cure that's probably going to be very expensive and may or may not be effective. Who knows? Hopefully that they will find some cure for it. But there are things that you can do. Investigate diet. Diet is essential to health, not just for the elderly, not just for people suffering with dementia, but for everyone. Diet is key. So do your homework and find out. Don't just depend on your doctors or your consultants to provide you with information, because as I stated at the beginning, doctors know little or nothing about nutrition. And there is research, good research out there with regard to nutrition and dementia. Also, if there's coming back to things like aromatherapy, is there a scent that the person in particular really loved, whether it was lavender or lilac or orange or whatever, lemon or whatever the case may be. And lemon is actually quite good because it actually clears mental confusion. So 1 or 2 drops on a handkerchief or tissue for a person to smell or diffuse through the room, or if they have no longer have a sense of smell, put up to 8 drops into 30 mils, which is about 2 ounces of base oil like sunflower oil or grapeseed, and massaged it into their hands. It can make a difference. Music, I've stated that before. I mean, Claire's mom was case in point that music has is a powerful means of being able to capture moments in time and to bring up moments in time for people and to stimulate memory. So that's another simple thing that can be done. Again, these aren't cures. They're not going to make it all better, but it can ease the confusion, the anger, the upset that occurs as people progress further into a state of dementia or Alzheimer's. And I know this from working with clients, but also just observing the people around and seeing the response going into nursing homes, where when there's stimulation of the mind, it has a tendency to respond. And even at such a late stage, reversals can occur. But you have to give the body the tools it needs to be able to do that. And like I said, I mean, it may be attending to their emotional state by using things like music and aromatherapy or giving massage treatments. It could be diet. It could be other things, but it behooves the people that are around caring for people living with dementia and Alzheimer's to find out, because it can make all of the difference, not just for the person with the conditions, but for the family as well, because those same treatments are good for the people who are tasked with the care of dementia and Alzheimer's patients. Because I can tell you, when I was treating my lady who was suffering with dementia, among other health issues, I was also treating her daughter, who was stuck, buckling a little bit under the strain of having to care for her mother. It was a labor of love, but it was becoming a labor, literally, of love. And everybody needs to have a break to be able to recharge and find more strength to go on. So it was a wonderful, wonderful night on so many levels. It was a privilege to see how the music actually was able to bring someone to a state of alertness and awareness, even for a short time. And I would urge you, whether you're here in the UK, or in the US or elsewhere, wherever you may be watching, if there is an organization, a charity that works with people with dementia or Alzheimer's, do consider donating. I mean, medical science is wonderful and great, and I'm sure they'll find a cure eventually. And whatever you can give towards that end would be great. But what would even be better is to inform yourself and see if there are ways that you can, natural ways, healthier ways, that drug-free ways that can help the people who are living with Alzheimer's and dementia. Thanks so much for watching. Before I go, today is Mother's Day in the US and in Brazil. So happy Mother's Day if you're watching and you're a mother or have a mothering spirit. And for my loved ones in Brazil, Feliz Dia das Mães. Tudo de bom para vocês, viu? Thank you once again for watching. Have a fantastic evening and a wonderful week. And I hope you'll think about making a donation to Dementia UK or some other charity to help people cope with living with dementia and or Alzheimer's. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.